Our universe is filled with secrets and mysteries, leaving us with many questions to be answered. We find ourselves searching for those answers as the very fabric of space, science, and society are converging. Here, for the first time, these worlds collide.
Oh, what are you saying?
All you trekkies and TV addicts, don't mean to this, don't mean to bring static. All you Klingons in your grandma's house, grab your backstreet friend, they get loud.
Say, Doc, what's the condition? I'm a man that's on a mission, like a scientist. When I'm applying this,
Check it out. What's it all about?
Now, get busy!
Welcome back to StarTalk Radio. I'm your host, Neil deGrasse Tyson, astrophysicist and director of New York City's Hayden Planetarium at the American Museum of Natural History. This is StarTalk. Joining me this week as a recurrent, you've been a few times here, Charles Liu, a colleague and friend, astrophysicist with the City University of New York. Charles, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. And might I say, Mr. Tyson, the hat you are wearing tonight is absolutely smashing.
You're revealing to a listening audience that I'm not in my normal garb. Okay. Yeah, so I just came from a commencement. And in fact, Gettysburg College in Pennsylvania.
Congratulations.
And they give you I have on the Renaissance version of the graduation hat, which has these multi-corners and it's soft velvet. And I didn't want to take it off because it's the one day a year where you get to, look like you're smart.
It sets off your corsage perfectly, sir.
Thank you. So, Charles, this week we're going to bring in an interview with Jon Stewart.
Fantastic.
Jon Stewart, we all know Jon Stewart.
Such an impressive man.
Host of The Daily Show. And, of course, The Daily Show predates him. It's hard to separate him from The Daily Show, but in fact, The Daily Show was around for several years before he took it over, but now they are synonymous with each other.
I was not aware of that.
And so what, you might ask, what might I talk with him about, you might ask. Did you?
What would you talk with him about, Neil?
It's about, first of all, he has scientists on the show with some frequency.
Regularly, yes.
Myself included.
Yes.
And also he's smart.
Yeah.
And I just want to find out if science had any role in his life that helped make or shape who he is, how he thinks, or what he actually does with it, how they produce the show. So, why don't we go to the first clip and find out and this interview took place in his office in the world headquarters of The Daily Show on the west side of Manhattan, just around the corner from Larry Flint's Hustler Club. Oh. If you've been there, you'll know exactly the location of that spot. Let's check out the beginning of my interview with Jon Stewart. So, Jon, you always have scientists on your show. This is awesome.
We have you on the show. We don't always have scientists on the show.
So let me ask you, when you figure out who the guest is going to be, do you have some deeper philosophical mission statement that you are fulfilling when you ask scientists to appear?
Here's the thing. You always like to balance guests. We have an awful lot of political guests. We have some actors. We have some things. I personally am very intrigued and interested in science. You know, Neil, and I don't know if I've discussed this with you previously. I was a chemistry major in college for the first 2 years.
Is that right?
William & Mary. I went through inorganic chemistry was the first year. Organic chemistry was the second.
What's your favorite element, by the way?
Oh, I'm a huge carbon guy.
Oh, cool. Okay, good.
I enjoy the molecular slut of the table of elements.
It is so a molecular slut.
It will bond with anything.
Totally.
It's ridiculous.
It's so out of control.
And by the way, 4 bonds. I don't want to say things that people...
4-way all the way around.
That's exactly right.
And I don't know if you knew, you can make more molecules with carbon than you can all other molecules combined.
Didn't know? What, are you kidding me? I had a picture of carbon up in my bedroom when I was a kid.
That is awesome.
Carbon was my teen idol.
Okay. No, Jon Stewart has been outed.
I'm a huge carbon fan.
Okay. So what happened in the last 2 years of college?
Well, it got very hard. The scientists wanted the exact answer all the time. They wanted the right answer. Mm-hmm. So I switched to psychology, where they wanted just an answer.
Any answer.
Any answer, as long as it took up like 8 pages. And I thought, well, I can do that.
Okay, so you've been scientifically baptized. In spite of switching over, you have a
That's
sensitivity. Right. And so now...
Don't make it sound like a penicillin allergy. I don't have a sensitivity. I have a love.
A love of science.
A love of science.
Now, here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Most talk shows, they'll bring on the politician because they think the politician matters, because people vote for them and they allocate monies. But at the end of the day, I could be biased. At the end of the day, there's scientific issues that affect us all.
Oh, Neil, here's my thing. You go away, and I'm not sure you don't take gravity with you. I don't know what you got planned. I don't know what you got in your little suitcase. You're a scientist.
Yeah.
My epidermis could be in there. You got all kinds of things planned.
You would know it if I had your epidermis.
Oh,
make that clear.
You would think I would know it.
You'd look really different without your outer skin layer. So when you bring on scientists, it's not just their work. Often there's science as it affects policy and society. So if you were to rank your most important sort of science issues, what would it be, do you think?
To me, the science of health and medicine. As a registered hypochondriac with the Hypochondriacs Institute of Hypochondriacs.
Card carrying, apparently.
Card carrying, which, by the way, we have no meetings because everyone's afraid to shake hands at the beginning of them. I would always suggest that health and medicine are at the forefront of any scientific discussion, any scientific breakthroughs.
People don't want to die.
I enjoy a good theoretical, and we're the only animals that seem to know it. Cows, you can walk right up to them with one of them air guns.
I've seen it and blow out the head.
Blow out the head right next to his buddy, and his buddy just standing there, and then 2 minutes later he turns around and he sees him lying on the ground. He's like, Jimmy, are you all right? People, because we know we're going to die, science is in essence that search we have to either come up with an answer or to solve the dilemma or to ease our minds about the uncertainty.
And we can also use science to make money. So it's, I don't want to die and I don't want to die poor.
Neil, that is so crass. It's not about that. It's about knowledge. It's about learning.
Jon Stewart being Jon Stewart.
I like Jon now even more than I did already. Chemistry, carbon geek.
We just outed him as a chemistry geek.
Yes.
This is cool.
Although I think he has to learn a little bit about environmental science because, wild cows, they know when they're about to be killed by a lion.
I'm sorry, I've never seen a wild cow. Unless you're talking about a wildebeest.
Well, those guys.
Those guys. Mm-hmm. Those guys. You know who just joined us in StarTalk is one of my favorite co-hosts, Leanne Lord, comedian. Leanne, welcome back to StarTalk Radio.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Good to be back.
Yeah. We got Jon Stewart on, plugged into the show today. And I know he does politics and the world, and I know you've actually done some politics of your own. Like you went on a tour through Iraq on a comedy tour? Is that what you did? Explain.
Yes.
What was that?
Yes, I did. I did a tour for Armed Forces Entertainment. Actually, I've done several tours with them, going to entertain the troops in Afghanistan, Iraq, because apparently I'll do shows in Baghdad, but not Brooklyn. So
they're still calling for you in Brooklyn there.
Yeah, I'm not going.
So you know what I wonder? With Jon Stewart constantly or often having scientists on his show, we can ask a question even of ourselves. Charles, what do you think is the most important scientific issue of the day? Because I can get on the phone, call Jon, and say, Jon, do this subject.
Well, it's a little bit prosaic, but honestly, it's science
prosaic,
literacy.
I forgot what that word means.
Oh, kind of boring.
Boring, okay.
But it's all about science literacy. You see, there are so many people in this world today that think that only scientists can do science, which is wrong. And also the idea that there's somehow some huge difference, or even no difference, between scientific knowledge and unscientific knowledge. If we actually knew the difference, then the policymakers wouldn't have to lie about it because they wouldn't understand it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And Leon, what do you think?
Wow, what he said.
Well, you're agreeing with Charles.
No, honestly, okay. I mean, part of my answer was going to be the fact that science itself is the biggest issue. Not enough education in it, not enough people being familiar with a subject, and honest enough to say when they don't know. And then that's okay in science, that we can get there if you just say you don't know. We can start from there.
That is so true.
Well, so Jon Stewart has fun with scientists when they get on there, and he tries to extract what's relevant to pop culture. And there's also sort of the politics of science itself and how he treats science guests differently or the same from his political guests, because he's had some political guests on there, and sometimes they look like a deer in the headlights, if he comes at them, at the wrong angle or in an unexpected way.
The moment he mentions carbon, they're toast.
All right, let's find out what came next in my interview with Jon Stewart.
Political guests lie.
Okay.
They lie, and they don't often know what they're talking about. Scientists have spent years on their craft. They have a basis of knowledge. They have a depth of understanding. So when scientists are on, it's merely a question of trying to chip off a few wisdom chips, shave them down to present them to an audience. With politicians, you're trying to...
But the scientist is not trying to pull the wool over your eyes.
Well, yes, for the most part.
Now,
you mentioned something earlier, which is the money involved. Now, money is a corrupting influence in any field. Even scientists, I'm not suggesting that they are pristine in terms of that finance doesn't in any way influence where science money is spent, where the research tends to go. Certainly we see many corporations hire scientists, have them do studies that back up the fact that, our product doesn't cause sphincter explosions.
The pay guy in their back pocket. Yeah,
that's exactly right. So scientists can also be used and co-opted.
In astrophysics, no one pays us for anything.
Here's your problem. You went into theoretical